The principle regarding performance-based pay is broader than for just teachers. The principle that we are abiding by is that everyone must add value in relation to what they are paid. The measure then is much more than how many of your students pass examinations at which grade, and rather, have you added value to the life of the particular student or the class that you're superintending? The accountability for teachers has not been a strong point of the education system ever. And the new Jamaica Teaching Council law, which we expect to be enacted during 2015, and the revisions of the Education Code 1980, both will strengthen the capacity of principals, boards of management of schools, and the ministry itself to ensure that that value is being added. Only 30% of the early childhood teachers in Jamaica have any training. We bless and give thanks for those who have taken care of our little ones over generations. Many of us are the beneficiaries of them. But we now know how crucial this period is and how scientific we have to be in developing the character and the cognitive skills, the social skills of our little children. And therefore, what we have done is to train and assign many hundred more teachers to our basic schools, to our infant schools, than was ever done before. Also, in order to improve the efficiency of this sector, we are amalgamating some of the weaker basic schools into government-sponsored infant schools. This year, we will complete the rollout of a nutritional support for about 135,000 early childhood, of the early childhood cohort. We know that approximately 30% of them come to school hungry every day. We know that another 20% are deprived intermittently, depending on family income. The reintegration takes place once the teen mother presents herself. The problem is with those who become pregnant and who who simply drop out and don't present themselves. And we do not have an adequate system of tracing and following them. And that is the challenge which we are addressing now. But this is a serious problem, not only for the girls, but also for the boys. I recently came across a school in Jamaica where of 780 approximately high school girls, 120 of them are mothers. Now, it is vitally important for us not to be judgmental, yes, to help those young people. The good thing is that they're still in school, but this has to be a learning experience for them and for their partners. And also, there has to be a strong message to others, male and female, that this is not the preferred way of going. I believe that there is a place for this. If there is a conscientious objection and a parent says, I am of a different persuasion and I wish my child to be excluded from that, there's always been a place for that. But by and large, the fundamental premises of life in Jamaica have a Judeo-Christian background. Our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our system of and recognition of human dignity and purpose all derive from that heritage. And therefore, it's not a matter only of pushing religion. It is a matter that is connected with ethics, with civics, and with history. And also, exposure to religious education and a religious fabric within education helps with discipline, with order, with cooperation, with tolerance, and with other good virtues like sacrifice and the postponement of instant gratification. And so generally I am in support of this. If there are other religious orders, or if there are humanists or atheists who wish to organize along the same educational along the same principles, then we'd be happy to look at that. We're not pushing any religious denomination, although please bear in mind that some 40% of all public schools in Jamaica are still either owned or sponsored by Christian denominations. Not sufficient. And that's why this becomes a special, almost a mantra for the ministry from 2015 going forward. Would this surprise you? Of almost 40,000 students leaving grade 11 in Jamaica last year, taking exams like CSEC and City and Guilds, only 5,000 took even one science subject. Now, science is a prism through which development and employment is likely to be most prominent in the 21st century. So we need to take a different view. It's not to diminish the need for liberal education. It certainly is not juxtaposed to competence in literacy and numeracy. In fact, mathematics is the gateway to science. But we are emphasizing the need for teacher competence in those areas. What we've found is that half of the teachers who are struggling to teach science subjects, even in our high schools, have no qualification in that subject at all. We're not vexed. We simply have to correct this because that was a chronic situation which could never be allowed to persist. We are emphasizing the renaissance of our technical schools, which used to be such a beacon for an entry point for STEM education, but have been diluted to become just ordinary, for the most part, high schools. So we want to bring them back to what they were, but not in the same old hammer and saw and wrench, but using modern technology that allows us to prepare practical skills, competencies applicable to the present economy. We have to do that. It's very difficult because everyone wants to have their personal ambitions catered to, but when resources are scarce, we have to entertain some system of triage. And, for example, if we have a surfeit of lawyers, as many think we do now, if we have a surfeit of, in the teaching profession, say, guidance counselors, rather than mathematics teachers, and that is a reality, then we must offer that which we have to meet those needs, and to do otherwise would be irresponsible, really. Well, shall I say it again? School is not a romping shop. However, we recognize that many of our students are in situations where they are particularly vulnerable, and they can't help themselves. When a guidance counselor or a principal deems this to be so, then the student must be informed, educated, and provided with whatever is needed to protect themselves. I hope that's clear. I believe that has to start at the early childhood level. I was so happy that yesterday we launched the Vouch Clinic, which is the first of many. Can you imagine our history where we're looking at the challenges of the early childhood sector? In many instances, homosexual tendencies or homophobic tendencies are evident from the very early stages of life. And it is important that we should orient our children and to, one, accept themselves, two, understand what is the normative and legal behavior countenanced by the society, but at all times to express tolerance and acceptance of other people's way of life.